to speak your mind, to speak what is the truth that you see, eyewitness, that is not affiliated with any big brand agenda, would that just be easier to just be a freelancer and be a video journalist or writing for yourself, but publishing openly, but just not working for a brand? Would that be what's the word? Would that just ignite the passion of why you even got into journalism?
I think that it's still good to go through some sort of formal training. And I don't know whether I'm just getting old and crusty, but, you know, my training involved being so precise on locations, on names, on addresses, you know, being accurate, you know, it was really drilled into you. And it was a big shame if you got a letter in saying you spelt my name as Smith with an I when it's Smith with a Y and an E, and you know, just little things like that. But it just, I mean, I was listening to a broadcast the other day, and again it was an international broadcaster, and they had Afghanistan in the Middle East. Oh. And you know, just schoolboy howlers like that, and you think, what's happened to the training of journalists these days? But I, you know, for anybody who wants to be a journalist, I would say to them, it's a fabulous job. It's great fun, but just try and be true to yourself. And, you know, it may be that newspapers and media, different media outlets have a slant on a story. But, you know, you can only stretch the truth so far.
Okay.
And
but you risk your life. But I just think most journalists, like you were a visitor to the West, you're a visitor to the West Bank, but you were on the boat in Gaza, the first boat to break the siege of Gaza in 2008. For the first time in 42 years, you were on that boat, and then you were surrounded by Israelis. And in that moment, you thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. This is it. And then you get caught by the Taliban. I mean, is that what it's really about? To cut the adrenaline rush is what it's all about? Would that be true?
Oh gosh, it's so difficult. I mean, you know, there is quite a buzz living on the edge, without a doubt. But the Gaza trip was all about raising the issue of the fact that Gaza hadn't had is on the Mediterranean, and yet they're not allowed to fish. They're not allowed to go more than 2 miles out. Then, you know, some days it's 1 mile, and but it's at that moment in time, I just thought, yeah, we are going to die. I really did think that we were going to die. But I mean, you know, when you're in that situation, there's nothing you can do about it. So running around the boat saying, oh, we're going to die, isn't going to help the situation. And nobody did that, to be fair to them. Although there were a few, well, I think we were all concerned at one point.
Okay, I just find that, you know, being right now a video journalist per se, because there's a lot of journalists on the ground in Afghanistan at the moment that I'm seeing their videos. They're not affiliated with any particular news station, but they just upload it to YouTube or TikTok or wherever, and they report from what they're seeing. And I look at what they're doing compared to what is being broadcast on mainstream, and there is a contrast. There is, and that's why I wanted to ask you the question, like, is it necessary to go through a big brand? Because right now, I mean, for the past 15 years, you can do it on your own without having to have backup.
Well, you can. I mean, I've been into Afghanistan with the BBC, and I've been into Afghanistan on my own. With the BBC, you have to go in with your passport and visa. You can't just sneak in. you have security with you all the time.
Okay.
And in Kabul, you're living in a compound or in a hotel, and security will do a check, or it's a bit like the weather, you know, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow, or is it safe? And if the security guy says, no, it's not safe, everybody stay where you are, you're not able to go out anywhere, which is really frustrating. But on your own, you can. But of course, there'll be little or no insurance. You are vulnerable. You don't have the backup of security. But then the advantage is you can get around a lot quicker without having to have all the security. As soon as anybody sees a convoy of vehicles, they immediately think that's somebody important, or it's somebody from a big organization. Whereas, I mean, there was one time we went round in a little yellow taxi with fairy dice dangling, and I guess anybody looking to kidnap any Westerners of any value would have just totally ignored this little taxi beetling all over the countryside without air conditioning, and, you know, really quite a rough journey. But we got through. And so there's pros and cons to going in on your own, to going in with the backing and support of a big agency.
Okay, as well as the contacts that the agency has.
Well, yes, that is that as well.
Yeah. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wanted to say in this interview, Yvonne?